All right, so it looks like we've got some numbers here in terms of post-debate polling data. During the debate, I felt like Bernie got some, relatively decent time. Uh, not maybe not as much as I would have liked him to get, but he did get some time. He really came out sort of swinging in that debate. He was really, he was very forceful, which was awesome to see. He was very enthusiastic. I think he has a deepened and embraced sort of sense of urgency. I kicked him another $27 recently. And I recommend you go donate to him as well, of course, and make sure to help out his campaign. Other ways, knocking on doors, phone banking, etc., etc. Lots of ways you can do that. But we are going to be taking a look at this 2020 Democratic presidential nomination numbers. There's been a bit of a change. Some of it you could consider to be, pretty significant. That piece being that Elizabeth Warren has now been demoted from second place to third place. Now, her rise seemed a bit weird because it was incredibly fast and didn't seem to happen for really any specific reason. And for me, it was kind of a blur personally. So I don't know how you guys, what your perspective was when this happened. But I felt like it was kind of a blur. It kind of happened, and I was like, wait, what? Warren's above Bernie in the polls? What? When did that happen? How did that happen? So it was a bit confusing. I didn't really understand it because it was so quick. I mean, she went from, being right here and here, and, from here, and starting in, I guess, September, like mid-September, she took over, and then in the matter of like 3 weeks, she went all the way from being a little bit above Bernie to, for what looks to be one day, it looks like, 1 or 2 days, it looks like one day being ahead of Biden by zero point 0.2 points in the national average. Now, this is incredibly remarkable because I don't know if we're going to see someone in the polling data actually take over Biden again. I just am not sure. I really don't know. We'll have to see. But that's truly remarkable. But this rise right here, and this is the problem, right? If you have too fast of a rise, there's a good chance it's not going to be steady. There's a good chance it's not going to be like real. Like it's really going to stick and stay there. Kamala Harris had it, for example. I mean, look at this. She literally went from 7.8 all the way up to 15 in like 3-4 days. And then look what happened to her. She's literally at the lowest she's ever been of 3.8, and we'll get to that in a second. But, if it's not a steady growth, odds are you're probably not going to steadily, stay up at where you were. There's not a very good chance of that really happening. As you can see here, Warren is completely nosedived. I mean, I did a video talking about a 6-point drop down, and she's continued to drop even more. And she keeps dropping over and over again. It's remarkable. So the question now for me becomes, how much further is Elizabeth Warren going to drop? That becomes my question. How deep is Elizabeth Warren going to drop? She was at 26.6 at what I can see to be her peak. She dropped down to 23 and 21 and 20 and all of this, and now she's all the way down to 17.2. Wow, folks, that is about a 9, almost 10-point drop, folks. 9 to almost 10-point drop, okay? That is incredibly, incredibly significant, dude. A 10-point drop. Okay, we're going to round up a little bit, okay? A 10-point drop is very significant. It's so significant, by the way, that she is now below Bernie Sanders once again. Now, if you really look at this, there's really only been one candidate who you could classify as being consistent in the polling data. That's Bernie Sanders. Now, that's a good sign. A lot of people are acting as if this election is going to be a sprint. This election is not a sprint, folks. This election is a marathon. It is not a sprint. Listen to me, okay? It doesn't matter who takes Iowa or New Hampshire as long as Bernie is strong and comes in second with a strong number. Because there's zero states that are winner take all. The Republican primary has a couple. The Democratic primary has 0. So it's all proportional. Remember when Bernie Sanders won Michigan? Even when Bernie Sanders won Michigan, he still was net negative on that day in terms of delegates because he lost by a significant margin in other states on that day, on the same day where he made his historic comeback in Michigan. So you have to understand, this is a marathon, not a sprint. He is essentially he needs to be in it for the long game. And so the consistency is actually a good sign, because while he'll have some fluctuations, I mean, really, they're not all that high. Let's look after this sort of drop off right here where Biden jumped in, because that was a bit of a, self-correction type of thing. But really, ever since then, he never really changes all that much. I mean, for Pete's sake, he's been between like 16 and 18 the whole time. His peak was 19.5, and hopefully he'll get back to that position and continue to grow. But, Biden has a lot of changes. Look at this. I mean, this is the, definition of inconsistent. Like, look at it's like a bunch of V's, basically M's you got going on. Because it's just so, raucousy by multiple points, 3-4 points changing, like almost like every week. Warren is obviously completely inconsistent. Went up really high and then down really, really hard. Kamala Harris, same thing. Look. I mean, she was down super low. Nobody cared. Then she started on the rise a little bit. Then started going down again. And then, boom, huge up. And then completely just fell down, tumbled. She is now at 3.8 points, folks. She's closer to 0 than she is to 10. All right? And she's below 4. I mean, this is hilarious. Buttigieg is almost at 10 points, okay? Now, I've been telling you guys that the Pete Buttigieg campaign has really been fueled by the media really shoving him down our throats for some odd reason. I don't know why that is. But he's now rising. He's at 9.6. Now, the question is, why is Mayor Pete rising? I don't really know, to be honest with you. You guys have probably all seen the High Hopes dancing videos. Those are representative of a lot of his supporters, a lot of cringe folks. But, is Buttigieg going to be like a big threat or anything like that? I really don't think so, to be honest with you. Now, the question of who's taking Warren's support, I mean, this almost exactly seems to, happen as, Biden goes up. So, some of it is going to Biden, but also it seems like a little bit could be going to Buttigieg, although it looks like here it looks like he's taking Biden's support. So, I mean, if Buttigieg takes Biden's support, that would actually be a good thing if he takes Biden's support. That would be good. Like, if he comes in and snags, if he snags like 10 points off him, that would be awesome. But, then that would put Buttigieg at 20, so I guess that wouldn't be so awesome. But, assuming he can stay under the 15-point threshold, if he snags off even 5 points, that would be huge. If he snags off like 5 points. But, Bernie staying consistent. He had a little bit of raucousy stuff going on here, a little bit, because of the myocardial infarction, of course. But Kamala Harris is almost at Yang level. I mean, she's literally 1 point higher. What I want to see happen is I want Andrew Yang to pass Harris. Now, what I want is Harris to go down to like 1, or anything below 2.8 for that matter. Because I do want Yang to be higher than Kamala, just because that would be super embarrassing for Kamala Harris. Now, Michael Bloomberg is also in the race. He's somehow at 2.3 already. Klobuchar's at 1.8. A lot of these candidates are just kind of, doing nothing. I mean, Sestak, I don't even know who that is. Tom Steyer's at 1.2. Klobuchar's at 1.8. I didn't even know Bullock was still in the race. Delaney's still in the race. Like, there's a lot of nobodies in the race right now, okay? But there's really only 4 significant candidates. There's Buttigieg, Warren, Sanders, and Biden. Those are the only significant candidates that are in the race, okay? Only ones. Now, will Bernie be able to go over this sort of number that he's at? Is he going to stay at 18? Because it really looked like he was starting to get into the 20s, because he went all the way from 14 all the way to 20. It definitely seems like the squad's endorsement of him definitely has seemed to help Bernie Sanders. Most certainly it seems to have helped him. And, all of this rise has seemed to be pretty consistent here. So hopefully it'll stay up, and hopefully he will continue to go up. Now, Biden has been having a bit of a drop-off right now, about what looks to be about a 2-point drop-off. So hopefully he will continue to go down. At this point, we're sort of trying to push Bernie as much as we can. At this point, again, donating to his campaign is big, but even more effective than donating to Bernie's campaign is honestly convincing people to support him and vote for him, people who are even your friends or family. I mean, if everyone were to convince like 5 people or even 3 people or something like that, it would be huge. So even if you can convince like 3 or 5 people that you know of, or you can, phone bank or knock on doors, that's all huge, man. That's all absolutely massive. Those I would actually value over money because, that's something money can't really buy. So, truly knocking on doors and phone banking and just convincing your friends and family to vote for Bernie. Again, I made a whole video explaining if you can convince your older folks, okay, that being your parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, whatever, great aunts, uncles, whatever it is, old people in your family, if you can convince them to support Bernie Sanders, I mean, you're really doing the Lord's work at that point because, as you know, the group that Bernie is really lacking in and that, benefits Biden the most is the geezers, the boomers, you know what I'm saying? So if you can eat into that support and instead reroute that to Bernie, you're doing the biggest thing possible, right? You're doing the best thing possible. So I will continue to keep a lookout, as we start nearing the primaries because, we're almost in December here. So we're like, wow, we're like 2 months out from the primaries, which I will be live covering, assuming everything goes as planned. And man, those will be pretty remarkable to say the least. Okay, pretty darn remarkable. So I will keep an eye on these numbers as we continue. And hopefully Bernie Sanders will continue to go up with everyone else going down.